Alright, so I'm Tang, aka B-Boy Stratus, and I'm going to start introducing myself as Tang because people have actually started calling me Stratus, and that's weird. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure how to go about this tutorial, but I've had multiple requests on similar topics. This is going to end up being a footwork slash flow slash style tutorial. And it seems weird that you would have a style tutorial, but I'll explain that later. First, I'll set up my beautiful annotations, and I'll probably just split it into those 3 sections. They won't be terribly long, so it should be okay. I'll just take my keys out of my pocket. So yeah, if you're going to go to any specific part, you can click on those sections now. I don't even think it's worth stretching for this, but for sake of being good, I will. Also, I'm probably going to make my backflip tutorial today as well, because that shouldn't really take much time. And it shouldn't be that difficult, so I'm going to get around to uploading both of these hopefully today. And yeah, let's get started. So, I received a lot of questions about footwork, and specifically what to do about footwork, and how to make it clean and how to make it nice. Now, there are a lot of different styles of footwork, but in general, all you have to do to make footwork look clean is drill, 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 over and over. That's pretty much the gist of it. I mentioned this to a lot of people, especially when I'm practicing with them like privately, but the 6-step is like one of the most underrated footwork moves ever. Because people are like, oh yeah, 6-step, that's so boring and gay. But it depends on how you execute it, because you can actually make a 6-step look really, really nice. I'll give you an example. So this is what a lot of people's 6-step looks like. They go like this, right? And they're like, yeah, 6-step. But if you make a few minor changes, staying on your knuckles, the insides of your knuckles, instead of going flat palm, if you have your hips out a little bit more, and you stay only on the toes, basically. You should always be on the balls of your feet, or on like the tip of your heel while doing footwork. Never, like, your entire foot should very, very seldom be completely contacting the ground. And that should either be like on accident or if you're transitioning and it's a really strange transition. Otherwise, like even for this position, it's best to be on the balls of your feet. And the reason for that is it makes it look nicer. If you're on the balls of your feet, you're generally lighter on your feet, so you're not stomping around. Although some people like to do that, I'm not sure why. And in general, it just looks cleaner. So I'll show you what I mean. So this is a ugly 6-step again, with something like this, right? If you clean it up just like a little bit, it's like, which, I don't want to be conceited, but I'm pretty sure it looks better than the first one. Not that you need it, but here's a different angle on it. But in general, all you have to do is practice for your footwork. There are some transitions that you might need a little bit of work on, but they're not really difficult. And beyond that, it gets into flow. But any last notes on footwork? You want to stay light, you want to be quick, and you want to kind of think ahead a little bit. If you have a set, if you're developing a set, that's completely different. Because you just want everything to flow in and out really, really nicely. But I think it's more fun to freestyle, especially just during sessions. Like, drilling sets over and over is kind of boring. So you want to have an idea of what kind of footwork moves go into other ones. Like, you know your 7-step and whatever the hell this thing is, like, transition in very nicely. So you can do a 7-step, start it here, and then just step behind, and then end the 7-step, and go back into whatever you want. Pay attention to the positioning of your legs and your arms throughout all of your footwork. Figure out where you can take pieces, cut them, and then put them back together, basically. And really, once you start to get comfortable with footwork, like, you'll realize that there are, like, literally infinite possibilities. And it's just about what you're comfortable with it, like how creative you are, and your individual style. So since there's not that much to say about footwork alone, I'm going to go on to flow. So flow is, I think, one of the most crucial aspects of b-boying, especially. Because, like, without flow, what is it? It's just like a combination. It's like power moves are gymnastics, and then footwork is just, like, who the hell even knows? And then if you don't combine them, like, it's not dance. It's just random aspects thrown together. Like, what pisses me off so much is when people do, like, a tricking combo in b-boying, and then they do, like, flare to air flare, and then they're done, and it's like, wow, that wasn't anything. So flow is one of the most fundamental, crucial parts of b-boying. And I like to emphasize it a lot because, like, without flow, your sets will look like such total trash. And with flow, like, proper flow with proper style, you can make even, like, a basic set, like, really easy moves look really nice. And that's really important. So, how do you practice flow? Every time you learn a new move, this is what I tell people. Whenever you learn a new move, you should know how you're going to get into it and how you're going to get out. Now, with a lot of things like hand hops, it's kind of hard. The only way to get into hand hops, other than starting like, oh yeah, top right, all right, hand hop time. Like, the only other way to do that is through a blow up. Same with power. It's kind of hard to start power from footwork, but I'm sure that you've noticed people do it, and it looks really nice when they do. So the first thing that you should think about whenever you learn a new power move, a new trick, whatever, is how you're going to tie it in and how you're going to tie it out. If it's going to be the end of the set, you don't have to worry about it as much, but you always want to have that possibility that you can continue your set. So I'll give you an example. One of the fun moves that I learned, kind of from practicing with voodoo actually, was this step here. And there are a few things that I noticed about it immediately. First of all, it's stabbed. If it's a stab move, that means that I can enter it anywhere that I can enter, like a baby freeze, basically. So I can do it from a coffee grinder, I can do it from a 6-step, I can do it from a windmill. And that's exactly where I put it. So for example, you know that you can windmill into freeze, like that's obvious, right? But a lot of people don't think about other stuff that you can do with a windmill. And the fact that you can stab out of a windmill means that you can add this in almost effortlessly. But I mean, the most logical thing to do from here, from this step here and then going over, is probably like the first thing that you would think of as a 7-step. And that's what I thought of. So you treat it like a 7-step. And then instead of doing that windmill and then like this awkward like thing here where you try to do a 6-step out of it, you can actually use this as a kind of like, I don't know, like a middle piece that connects them perfectly. So I'll show you what I mean. So you'll notice that that flows a lot better than if you just tried to windmill straight into 6-step. And it also looks a lot nicer because it flows. I can't think of any other great examples off the top of my head. One thing that I started to do recently was I learned a tricking master swipe, and I'll have a video of it here so you can look at it. But I was thinking about how you can get it into a b-boying set, and I figured, well, anytime that this leg is off the ground, you could technically do it, right? So that's exactly what I did. But the problem was what you could do after. Now, master swipe lands kind of like a cartwheel. So you go around like this and you land here. Now you could use that to end a set, but first of all, it's not really that flashy, and otherwise it's just kind of awkward. It's like if you ended a set with a 6-step, you know? Like you can, but you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like, it's just kind of weird. So I was thinking about what I could do from that position. And I noticed that as he came around, this leg was swinging around backwards. So I'm like, oh, you could either pull this around like this, or you could just straight up pull it behind you and do a rollback. And that's what I did. And I'll find a video to link. Or actually, no, I'll just overlay it. There you go. So you can see how that works. The general idea is that you really want to understand your position, your entire body's position. You want to be aware of where it is during every point in your move, or at least as many like critical points as possible. As in during your windmill, it doesn't matter that much when you're actually spinning where your body is, but when you go in and how you come out is really important. Also, if you can cancel it into any other moves. And that takes a little bit more thinking, but it's doable. But you really want to focus on those critical points during the move, like the beginning, middle if you can, and then the end. And you want to see where those link together, and anywhere that it seems like two pieces might link, just try it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, then forget it. Maybe see if you can put anything in between those and make it work, like I did with that weird momentum step. That's pretty much it as far as flow goes. Make sure, no, I'll go over that in style. So with flow, you just want to make sure all of your moves link together and make them link as aesthetically as possible. So you want, I'll show you a really good example of something that you shouldn't do. So, what's something really stupid that people can do? Okay. You want to do a flare and then a windmill, right? The most obvious transition is to take this part of your flare and just do a windmill out of it. So this is what it would look like if you did it like that. So, flare it straight into windmill, right? And that's what people normally naturally do, because it's a very smooth transition, and the two pieces, the end of the flare and the beginning of the windmill, fit perfectly together. Now I'll show you an example of how this shouldn't be done. You think complete the flare first, then do the windmill. Why? I don't know. Some people actually do a lot of moves like this, and it bothers the hell out of me. So you do the flare first, and then you're like, okay, it's windmill time. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. Also, I hate when people do footwork and then they stop to do a windmill. So people are like 6-step, 6-step, and then they get into this position and then do a windmill. And I'm sorry if you do that, but it looks really bad. It looks terrible. And it looks like you have no idea what you're doing. You can put any one of hundreds of transitions in there. One of my favorite ones is this. So, I mean, I'm not going to call you out on biting, I never do. So, what you do is you swing this leg around here, place this hand down, and then you collapse. And it's really easy, and this is what it looks like. So you'll notice that even a small transition like that can make a set flow so much better. That actually wasn't the best example. But I mean, just off the top of my head, you can come up with something that looks better than, oh yeah, I'm going to 6-step and then set up and then wind up and then I'm going to do this move and then I'm going to stop and then I'm going to do this move. You know what I mean? So, flow is really important. And 90% of making your sets look good is getting the individual moves clean and having them flow together. Now, the last part that I'm going to talk about is style. Because a lot of people ask me how I develop my style and what their b-boys' name should be. And first of all, like the idea of the b-boy name, I think it's kind of silly. I've always thought it's a little bit silly because it sounds like something straight out of like some kind of a stupid movie. It's like, my name is Tang, but call me Stratus. You know, but like, I don't know, it's part of the culture, whatever. A lot of trickers do it too, I don't really care. I have my little Stratus insignia, which looks a hell of a lot cooler than if I wrote Tang. But that's aside the point. Style is not something that can be like traditionally taught. It's not like, okay, here's your style, I'm going to hand it out to you, this is what you're going to do. Because the entire point of style is it allows you to express yourself. And that's what dance is. If you do flare, windmill, flare, like that doesn't express anything. That doesn't tell people anything. Like to b-boys, it might mean a little bit more. Actually, it's like, wow, you put in like the dedication and time to do this, or maybe that's what you're naturally good at. Either way, like, you want to express yourself through your dance, is my point. For it to be dance, it needs to have some kind of an expression component. And that expression is style. And a lot of people call it swag, and that's stupid. It's style. So style is something that's naturally developed, right? But it's not something that's developed very quickly. Like if you only practice like moves that you learn from tutorials, you're not going to develop a style. You might have a style of executing those moves, which is very close to an actual style. And basically, what you want to do is practice freestyling. And I mean, it has the word style in it. If you freestyle, you'll notice yourself do things that you wouldn't naturally do if you were composing a set. Like, some of my moves that I do while I'm practicing are not things that I would normally think of. But they're things that just like come naturally and I'm like, oh hey, this would be cool. Or like, even just through musicality, like you listen to the music and you follow the rhythm and you come up with like these new moves, these new transitions. And a lot of people, I don't think, realize how important freestyling is because it gives you a chance to develop yourself as a dancer. And a lot of those moves will kind of show you what your style is. So especially like if you find a song that you really like it gets you really hyped up. When you dance to it, you'll notice that you'll have like a few tweaks. And it's really good to record yourself while you're doing this so you can notice what they are. Your style is something that you should develop and something that you should learn. It's how you express yourself, and it's part of like your innate core personality, right? So I can't tell you what your style is, but what I can tell you is that you could discover your style through biting. Now people are gonna not like that statement very much at all, but like everybody bites and everybody knows that everyone bites, and that's fine. That's something you have to deal with. On a professional level, like it's taken much more seriously. If you're like Hong Ten and you're like biting, I don't know, someone, I don't even. If you're biting Thesis, like people are gonna be like, what the fuck? Like that's obviously not your move. But when you're first learning, it's okay to bite. And a lot of people are like, no, that's not okay, like that's BS, like whatever. Like nobody actually cares that much, especially if, as long as you're not saying like, oh, I came up with this move, you know. Like it's part of practicing, it's part of learning. Like nobody's gonna say you bit a flare from the first person that did a flare. That's ridiculous. But my point is, if you find styles that you like, if you're like browsing through YouTube, you're like, oh, this b-boy is so dope. Like try some of their moves, try some of their transitions, and see if you like them. See if they fit you, and then slowly try to branch out from there. Like take what you got from them and turn it into your own move. And I've done that a lot with a lot of different moves. For example, like this thing right here was totally originally bitten. I don't even remember from who, but people do it all the time now, and it's not really that big of a deal. But it happens to suit my style, and it happens to match the rest of my moves. So I use it pretty frequently, actually. But yeah, style is something that you should develop. It's something that should be your own, but it's okay if you borrow a little bit, as long as you change it and turn it into your own. One thing that I do like to do though, I'm not gonna lie, I love biting 09. Um, because mainly, partially because he only has like 4 sets that he does over and over, and then partially because they look so good. They're so good. One of my favorite things to bite is this. Or, how do you do it? It's like, that's one of my favorite combos to bite. And that was really sloppy, but it was just for example, so. If you look through my videos, I do it better when I'm like joke biting him. And I mean, if you really want, I can tie this into b-boy names, which is, your name should represent your personality and your style. That's all I can tell you. It can be whatever you want. There's a French b-boy called b-boy Nigaz. That's actually, it's not how it's spelled N-I-G-G-A-Z, but like whenever people like introduce him, they're like, b-boy Nigaz! It's crazy. He's actually really dope. But that's an example of a name that's probably not the best chosen. I like physics as a name because he's awesome and he defies physics. And that's pretty cool. Hong Ten, if I remember his name, is just like a phonetic of his Korean name. And a lot of like, look at American b-boys actually. They're pretty good with their names. But I mean, it should be whatever feels right for you. I've changed my b-boy name like at least 3 times because I don't really care about it. It was like Flux, then Zero, and now it's Stratus. Like, it doesn't define who I am. Who I am, like, if anything, who I am should define my b-boy name. But I mean, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Just remember the TLDR. For footwork, you want to be light on your feet, you want to be quick, you want to know where you are, you want to know what's happening next. For flow, you want to know where moves end, where they start, how you can put them together. Be creative with it. You can create new transitions. If you've never seen something before, and you're like, maybe this will work, try it, see if it works. I've come up with like a ton of really strange transitions. One of them, I don't even know if I can do it right now. Actually, I'm not even going to try. But, I mean, if you go through some of my practice videos, like, you'll see me do some really weird stuff. And I don't watch that many b-boy videos anymore, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really keep up with it that much. But, as far as I know, those, like, a lot of the moves that I do are original, because I've never seen anybody do it, so as far as I'm concerned, like, it was something that I created. Like, 2 people can create the same thing at different times, and as long as they don't copy each other, I mean, it's original. So, you know, you'll get called out on biting sometimes just because you come up with the same move that somebody else does, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you can beat them in a battle. And for a style, develop it. Freestyle, practice. See what suits you, what feels right for you, and what you like. If you start b-boying and you're like, oh, my footwork's sloppy, so I'm going to make all of my moves sloppy because that's my style. Like, obviously, that's not what I mean. Like, make it something that you want it to be, but something that represents you. So don't just be like, oh, this guy's style is dope, I'm going to copy all his moves. Like, figure out your own style and figure out how you want to dance. And that's pretty much the gist of this. If this tutorial helped you at all, remember to like, subscribe, favorite, comment, whatever. I'm pretty sure any interaction with this video will help me. It's just like, I think even dislikes make the video more popular. But it just gets the video out there so that other people can see it, see if it helps them. And also, if you want to support me, click on my ads. They're everywhere. They're on most of my videos. Some of them probably not. But if you click them, I can make like 10 cents or like 15 cents or something like that. Some really small number. But I mean, if a lot of people click on them, then I eventually make enough for like a trip to gym session. So, you know, like, I'm a broke college student. These gym sessions are taking a toll on me. If you don't want to see me trick anymore, I guess don't click on my ads, because then I won't make money and then I'll just die and starve to death. But yeah, I'll also have a link to my backflip tutorial in case you want to learn it. And also here is another link to the rest of my tutorials if you thought this one helped. Alright, thanks for sticking through this absurdly long tutorial. This was supposed to be like 4 minutes long, but I hope it's helpful. Alright, bye! Yeah, look at me. I'm so cool. I stop after every move. Yeah, I'm done. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna do flip. Okay, yeah, crash my flare. No problem. Okay, CC. Yeah. I'm gonna do a 6-step. Yeah, and that's my set. Don't ever do that, I'll kill you.